What is going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down the latest dev video to be posted over on Boss Chrysalid's official YouTube channel that is going to be giving us our first look at the buff dungeon that Netmarble had teased to us several months back, so we have quite a bit to talk about in today's video. But before we get into all of that and more, if you guys are new here to the channel and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, then make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe, as we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you hit that subscribe button, you could help us achieve that goal. So with all of that being said, in today's video we are going to be slowing down this dev video from Boss Chrysalid, taking a look at that buff dungeon. We don't have confirmation on a hard release date as of yet on this thing, but this is something that we should expect here in the next couple of weeks, more than likely, given the fact that that's been the track record in the past. But let's go ahead and slow this thing down and see what there is to see, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. Well, you guys, if they aren't going to give us our first look at SS King and SS Yuri today, I suppose that this is the next best thing. But if you want to check this video out in its entirety, as I mentioned previously, link will be in the description, because I am going to be pulling the audio out of this thing and slowing it down as we talk, so that way we have a little bit more time to go through this and talk about some of the finer details, because there's a lot to dissect here. But in this video, they do introduce us to another member of the dev team that we haven't met before. This fine gentleman here, who is cosplaying as Clark, definitely dig the fact that he broke the vest out for this, is going to be a member of the dungeon team, otherwise known as the most underworked team in the entire development team for the King of Fighters All-Star. But jokes aside, he is going to be giving us our first look at this buff dungeon. Now, as you guys can see here, it is going to be structured very similarly to what we've seen with things such as Tower of Trials, but basically between rounds you're going to have a list of 3 different buffs, and the goal is to collect these buffs, and you'll carry these things into the next round, and they will affect your entire team. So that's pretty much going to be the selling point, or one of the details that separates this from Tower of Trials in a big way. We've seen this in a previous developer's note. They had given us a first kind of glimpse into what they were thinking and what they had in mind with this. This isn't reinventing the wheel, because we've seen this type of mode in tons of different gacha games, but it is nice to see us getting new in-game content that isn't going to be in the form of a limited banner. Now, it's important to note that this next part is not confirmed, but this might be the first look at the drops for this dungeon, and if that is the case, there's 2 big things to note here. First thing being the fact that we might be getting epic quest buffs with this new dungeon that can be dropped, which would be really, really cool, considering the fact that epic quest buffs are something that is very, very tough to grind, because it takes so much AP and is such a big time investment. That would be fantastic, but we don't have confirmation on that yet. And also what you will see in there is the fact that there is world drop coins, which, if that is the case, and we might be seeing this as early as in the maintenance notes tomorrow with the upcoming 1027 update, if that is the case, then that could mean that we might be seeing a world drop event along with this, which would also be really cool, considering the fact that typically, depending on the world drop event, those things are going to have a ton of value for a lot of players out there, depending on what we can use those coins for. So something to keep in mind. We don't have confirmation, and they didn't necessarily tell us one way or the other if that was going to be a prize pool that was tied to this particular buff dungeon or not, but I would assume so, considering the fact that that is the focus of this video. So some of the stuff that they go into in this video is basically going to be some of the details on what goes into creating a new dungeon. So they definitely stress that there is a lot of work that goes into this, and he also mentions the fact that in his particular department that they need to actually talk to and collaborate with every member of the dev team, or at least every part of the dev team, in order to put these things together. So that's something that's kind of cool to note about this. We also get a glimpse at a new enemy type, it looks like right here. That's probably going to be something that is involved with this buff dungeon as well. So this is really just kind of a nitty-gritty kind of look inside at what goes on as far as the development of these different modes. And again, they don't really give us a whole lot of information here. It's more so just him talking about how much they have to collaborate with different members of the team and the different steps that they go through whenever they're building these dungeons. So there's really not a whole lot to that goes into the more detail-oriented side of this video as far as giving us any new information at this point. It's really more so just a open discussion, which is appreciated. I always like to hear kind of what goes into this stuff, but at the same time, it feels like in this particular dev video, there's a lot of images and a lot of things going on as far as visually, but then again, they don't really go into a lot of detail on anything that is actually going on screen. It's more so just them talking about his job and what his team does, which I understand and I get, and again, I appreciate, but I would have liked to have seen them talk more in depth about what they're actually showing us, because it feels kind of disjointed. However, I do get the feeling if they're showing us this now, then there is a reason for that. More than likely, like I mentioned, we don't have confirmation at all, and they don't talk about a window for release of this thing at all in this video, but I would assume that there is a pretty good shot that we might see this added in with the update on Thursday, but again, time will tell, and they don't really give us any confirmation whatsoever here. But as far as structure of this dungeon is concerned, it definitely seems like it is something that a lot of people would really like. I know there are a lot of fans out there of Tower of Trials, so if that is the case and that is going to be the basic structure of what we're looking at here, then I can see a lot of people out there being excited to play this. But at the same time, it's going to come down to what implementation looks like. We've seen a lot of these different modes teased to us before, and they always seem like they're going to be something that isn't going to be that big of a deal. But then with things like such as Chapter of Fight, we notice that once we get it, it isn't necessarily going to be the most user-friendly or fun thing in the world to play. So hopefully it is something that we all get to enjoy and it won't cause more of an issue in the community. But again, we'll have to wait and see. You never know until you actually get it in your hands and you can play around with it yourself. Now, as far as other pieces of information that are given to us in this video, they do mention that they want to try and get new story mode out to us by the end of the year, and that is something that they are working on. If that were the case, then as always, whenever new story mode is added into the game, that is definitely good for all of you free-to-play players out there, because that means more free-to-play rubies for you to grind out. But also, another big piece of information that is in here is going to pertain to something that they are going to give us just a short glimpse of. And before we show this, I want to make sure that everybody is aware we do not have any confirmation one way or the other on any details on this. There is no information given at all in this video outside of what we're about to see on screen, but take all of this with a pinch of salt. However, if you pay attention right here, it does appear as though we might be seeing a new version of Nameless added into the game. As you guys can see, they are definitely making some edits to his existing art, or at least working on art that is very similar to his existing art. So there is a chance that he's either going to be some sort of new boss, maybe he's going to be a new Phantom Nest version of that character, maybe there's an SS or something coming out for him. We do not know. This is something that we're going to have to just wait and see on. You guys can kind of go crazy with your theories and kind of try to speculate all you want, but at the same time, this is something that largely we have no information about whatsoever. But considering the fact that Nameless has a ton of fans out there, I'm sure that a lot of people are extremely hyped to see that, and that might end up being the biggest takeaway from this entire video for a lot of you. But keep in mind, we have no confirmation on that whatsoever. So in the end, you guys, that is going to be the latest dev video. Again, we have no new information as far as King and Yuri are concerned, nor do we have a hard set date as far as when this will all get released. But this is definitely a good, promising video. It gives us more hope that we will be seeing new content added into the game outside of characters. But what say you? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace.
Contenders.